thanks to people like Webster, Griffin, Tarpley, who said Obama was their man 9 months before he was elected, who laid it all out with Brzezinski, laid out all the policies, all the flip-flops. A man ahead of his time laid out that he would stall within 150 days. It's now happened. He said he would have the lowest approval rating ever. It's happened. How on earth did you know this, Webster Tarpley?
Well, thank you, Alex. I think it was mainly a matter of having lived through the Carter trilateral puppet regime back in 1977 to 81, seeing Zbigniew Brzezinski back then, seeing Paul Adolph Volcker, seeing all the members of the Trilateral Commission who were so prominent in the Carter administration, from Carter and Mondale and Vance and so many others, Blumenthal at the Treasury, and so on. They were all handpicked by David Rockefeller and Brzezinski. This time they did it a slightly more sophisticated way, not so much actual membership in the Trilateral Commission, although we don't really know, but certainly the guiding hand was there. And now you've got Paul Adolph Volcker sitting in the White House, and Brzezinski really running a lot of the policy through somebody like Robert Gates, who was his office boy back 30 years ago, who now runs the Pentagon. So I think you're dealing with that. Now, I think the good news, though, is that this has now stalled. This entire Obama hysteria seems to be disintegrating at a fairly rapid rate, and he is now down to 49% in some of these polls.
But a cornered dragon is dangerous with all of his host of hell supporting him, all these powerful interests that are articulating this puppet. What are their tricks, their stage crises, synthetic terror? You told us what was coming a year and a half ago. Now tell us what's coming in the next year and a half. Webster, Griffin, Tarpley. Stay with us.
The New World Order beast is genetically modifying your food, mixing vegetables with animals, and now experimenting with viruses. Without a long-term food solution, you will have just two options: starve, or surrender. All canned food supplies will eventually run out. What then? Grow your own healthy food and feed your family forever. SurvivalistSeeds.com is now the nation's largest bulk heirloom seed company. And it's owned by a real patriot, Big John Lipscomb. You can now have an infinite amount of healthy vegetables like a watermelon, a bundle of carrots, or tomatoes for a little more than a penny each. SurvivalistSeeds.com. And now you can go into business with Big John at SurvivalistSeeds.com by becoming an affiliate. See his link at SurvivalistSeeds.com.
Webster Tarpley, we were talking during the break. Obviously, he's their manufactured Messiah type that Brzezinski, in between two ages, wrote about in the 70s. These kind of pop icon presidents they wanted to create, kind of little Hitlers that are complete puppets, not their own men, as Alois Hitler was. Now that he's stalling, and much of his agenda, except for the hate crimes bill, they got that. That was the one thing they wanted to restrict free speech. Now that they're starting to stall, this is a cornered juggernaut going for broke. What do you see happening in your political crystal ball?
Well, the first thing is that Obama is now losing some of his core support, right? He got 52% in the election, allegedly. If he's down to 49, it means that he's lost 3% of his actual voters, which is, I think, very, very ominous for him. Let's just think of where we are. We're in the first term of Obama, and it's getting to be August. Where were we about this point in the previous president's first term, say Bush?
He was on vacation, getting ready to stage a false flag.
Having, the rogue network was getting ready to deliver the false flag and hope that he did what they wanted, which he was going to do. But we're now basically at the point where this 9/11 stuff then comes back into play. The danger of false flag, I would say, is now rapidly increasing. It has to do with the calculation on the part of these controllers, right, these trilateral characters. Do they wish to try to maintain this investment? I mean, if you look back at Bush, he was already cratering at the point we're at now, and then he was given a huge rally round effect by 9/11.
And according to Gallup and others, Obama is cratered faster than Bush, faster than Carter. So this is a record cratering, and so that brings false flag in.
It does, and the model, I think, is this character Andrew Sullivan, writing in the Atlantic Monthly in December of '07, complained that the use of false flag was momentarily impossible for the Anglo-American ruling class because under the circumstances of Bush Cheney, nobody would believe them. In other words, if a bomb went off and Bush Cheney came out and said country X did it, many people would say you're lying, many people would say you're responsible, you're incompetent, or even you did it yourself as a wag the dog. So that was the problem that Sullivan saw with the latter years of Bush Cheney. Now, in the opinion of the ruling elite, I don't think in reality, because I think they're too optimistic, they would say that Obama could blame another country for something happening and the world would believe it. Now, the list has changed. This is not going to be Iran anymore. You will have seen that the CIA faction in Iran is in the streets yelling death to Russia, death to China, meaning Brzezinski's program. So there's no point in attacking Iran when you have a chance of taking over the government with Mousavi Rafsanjani and then using Iran against Russia, China, which is what the plan is. But I would say,
but if that doesn't go well in the next few months, they still may. I mean, we're getting all these green lights.
But right now, that's still an open question. The one thing we do know is that there's bombing of Pakistan every day, which is 2.5 times bigger with nuclear weapons. So I think actually much worse as a policy. But I think the hit list is now Pakistan, Sudan, and then depending on how crazy they are, maybe they go straight to China or straight to Russia. And this would, of course, be acts of incalculable folly, but that we're dealing with a
But we already saw the Brzezinski-Geithner crew already manipulating the Bushes, as you said, with the 888 probe.
Well, yes, but the question now is the hit list has changed, and these other countries are now at the top of the list. So I would say now it's time to redouble vigilance. In particular, the question of the drills and the exercises. What I tried to show in 9/11 Synthetic Terror was that this is done through about 25-plus drills, either happening on the morning of 9/11 or just completed or in the advanced stages of completion. And that is how it is done. I mean, people who have seen the latest Tom Cruise movie, when von Stauffenberg wanted to eliminate Hitler and have a coup d'etat, how did he do it? He took a pre-existing drill operation or program, which was called Operation Valkyrie, which was supposedly how to reassert Hitler's control over the German territory and other areas, and he redirected it and tried to use that as a means of kicking out the pro-Hitler faction. Now that didn't work,
let's explain
this is how you do it.
How they bootleg with drills, and we have NLE 09 going and other Defense Department drills openly training for martial law. I mean, on record with 14 foreign nations saying the foreign nations will aid suppressing American terrorists. Just unbelievable outrage against our sovereignty.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
All right, Webster, I was interrupting there with the break, but I want to go over this because we already saw the Bush people, and you were saying that was being manipulated already by the Rockefeller arm that was back in full control even before Bush left office with the 888 insanity, sneak attacking a Russian-controlled area on record, and then hoaxing it and saying the Russians had attacked. I mean, just insanity. I'm a political atheist, folks. We're just reporting the facts here. And, of course, that later came out, but the hoax worked for a week. Some of the listeners thought that I was lying and that Russia had snuck attack. I mean, this is getting insane. So what else do you see Obama doing? I don't just see wars. I mean, could they, I see them, Tarpley, scripting for right-wing militias, gun owners, anti-Obamas. I see the programming by the ADL, Southern Poverty Law Center, to stage something, that the government's going to stage something. I see the pre-scripting. Before it was bin Laden pre-scripting before 9/11, and I saw that. I see pre-scripting for them to go the domestic terror route with white Al-Qaeda. Do you see that in the cards?
That helps the dictatorial agenda domestically, and it gets you back to McVeigh and the whole universe of the 1990s. That indeed, in the 1990s under Clinton, that was the main form, for example, of British intelligence in the United States were up to their necks in white supremacists and all kinds of militias.
So was German intel. It came out German intelligence on loan to the ADL and Southern Poverty Law Center was running the groups.
The BND, yes, right. So, but here's the problem with that, is that doesn't advance your international agenda as much as you want. As a matter of fact, it hurts it. Because if Obama is no longer the smiling peace angel bringing singing tomorrows to the United States, but rather some kind of a stern dictator who's, shooting at crowds or something, then you get into diminishing returns. And remember, the main thrust of this has got to be, when it comes to false flag, is that you want to be able to blame it on somebody. You want to somehow create, for example, a conflict among other nations. In other words, it's not necessarily the U.S. that goes on the attack. The neocon response to every crisis is bomb them.